Hello again, guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Survival Russia. This is gonna be a little bit longer video and in-depth kind of explanation on who am I, what have I done and what have I not done and all that good stuff, because as I said in the first video, we have these articles floating around on the internet about me, and people are writing me sometimes and, oh, we found out who you are and this and that. If you believe these articles, let's just say it like that, and if you run into them, if you believe what's written there, then it's because you want to believe it, or that you have not actually checked up on the information which is written in some of these articles, which cannot even get my name correct, some of them. Anyway, I will try and do this as short as possible, but it might be a little bit long. It's gonna be interesting. There's gonna be a lot of stuff from secret services and all that funky stuff, so get your popcorns out if you are interested in a little bit of a funky story here, which has me as the main person. So, in order to let's start with the political engagement, right? I became involved with this group, Danish Front, and just on an ordinary level and so on. But this group dissolved. So what happened was that another group was opened up, which is today called DNF. Denmark's Nationalist Front. It's not the Danish National Front, but it almost. But that's what it was called. And I was in 2008, 9, the spokesperson. Yeah, excuse me. So since I already was like all out in the open with things, then I became the spokesperson for this DNF, let's just call it like that. Unfortunately, DNF still exists in some capacity. So what was DNF back then when I was there? It was also kind of an umbrella organization where everybody from the rights wing segment or patriotic segment of Danish political life, so to speak, could join up. Also guys who were fond of the German neo ideology from 1930s, blah, 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 blah. But one of the rules in the DNF was, back then, that if you were had such sympathies, you were not allowed to show it. You had not allowed to make any salutes and wear marks, no bad patches and this and that, when you were engaged in our meetings or demonstrations or activities, because we were an activist organization. One of the things that we tried to get across with, it was like a new, we could say a new initiative on the Danish far right or side, so to speak, because honestly, many far right guys, they are a little bit primitive and not so politically engaged and enlightened as their opponents on the other side, on the extreme left, for example, right? I will give that to the extreme left, that they have more political engagement, mostly anyway in Europe. Not all, but in generally speaking. And they are better politically motivated, where it seems like the far-right guys in Europe, they are more just like the Denmark for the Danes, foreigners out, kind of a thing. That we tried to, that was one of the things we tried to be a little bit different on, that why be angry on the immigrants and so on if you are unhappy about what we call weaponized immigration. If you are unhappy about that, why don't take it to the government? I mean, this is the government who writes the laws and so on. It's not the immigrants. I mean, if you lived in a crap hole somewhere and there was no justice for anybody and so on, and you just principally just got invited to a completely different and better world, you would do it, right? most people would anyway. So that was one of the things we were trying to come across with in DNF and so on. So yeah, it was a group, it was an organization, it was fair to call it an organization back then, actually, of a big, wide array of different kind of people. Today, DNF is made up of, I think, less than 10 morons, which are, if not all of them, most of them anyway, of a neo-German ideology guys, so to speak, and very pro-Ukraine, which, you know, they are aligning themselves to the DNFs today, aligning themselves a lot with these neo-German groups in Ukraine and so on. So that's what that is. If you go to this website in Denmark, I think you will not see anything of me. I think everything has been deleted, and they have formed their website in their own way. What I can see is that they think that obviously I am affiliated with these guys. Even I've been living in Russia for more than 10 years, and I had nothing to do with politics for about 12 years, right? So yeah, no, I have nothing to do with that. I have nothing to do with them. They can do what they want. Tra-la-la-la-la. Next topic, because that's now gonna get interesting. Because we got invited to Russia by a group called Slavic Union. What you could find on them back then on the internet and on YouTube and so on, you could see that they were most likely followers of the neo-German ideology to some extent, because it's of course illegal in Russia. But that was kind of visible. And it's not like that we just went to Russia, we didn't knew. Yeah, we knew. But it was anyway interesting, so we went here and to check them out and to meet some foreign international contacts and see what it would bring. But it didn't bring anything, because we were with them like 3 days or something in Moscow, and we never corresponded further with them after the first visit there. Not once. What happened though was that they asked us, hey, do you want to come on a wild hog hunt, you know, wild boar hunt? And that's where some of these pictures floating around with me in a British military jacket and so on. So with glasses, I'm shooting a hunting rifle with a scope on and so on. And we simply just shooting 2 shots to zero this rifle, to zero the scope, just and that's it. We went to this hunt. We didn't catch anything, we didn't get anything. We went back in the evening and sitting and talking around the table and so on. And what we didn't realize back then is that their leader, he was recording everything we said on the table. He didn't ask our permission or anything. But this we found out, of course, a little bit later. The day after, when we had to drive home, back to Moscow and so on, to our hotel and this and that, they asked, hey guys, you want to come and just burn up the last of the ammunition? No, we had shotguns and we had this hunting rifle and so on. And so we said, yeah, why not? Let's go. So we were shooting at an old car wreck. There's also some pictures of that, I think, in the Danish media, you know, like, oh, they went completely mad in the Danish media about this. But there was nothing else there was nothing but us just burning up the last ammunition. But the guys asked, the Russians, they asked, can we film a little bit? Yeah, you can film and so on, so, of course. But what we didn't knew was that they used this footage to sort of like portray themselves as how cool they were, and that they had some Danish nationalists to do some firearms training and so on, that they wrote on their own website or in a video or something like this in Russia. I don't really remember which ones it was. But it was not really in accordance with the truth, let's just say it like that. So that's why we cut the ties with these guys. But anyway, on the first visit there, we managed to meet some other guys. They tried to keep us you can say shielded from other people. So we managed to meet some normal Russians and also some Russians which were like political, but nothing like they were. But we met very shortly a wide array of different Russian guys. And what happened was that I went back to Moscow some months later or something like that with 2 other guys, and we met with these people and we had a great time, because as I said, there was many different, we went on a cafe, there was like 40-50 people of, you know, political people, non-political people, and just great guys, and we had a great time. And one of the things which happened there was we were in an apartment and playing guitar and drinking beer and vodka most likely, and tra-la-la-la-la. And Russians are really like to take photos. So I was standing with two guys. I don't even know who they are, what they were called, but one of the guys, he was doing like this on the photo, but he was on the right side or the left side, I don't remember. So I of course did not knew that, but that's what happened. Because I say this because I had a conversation with one of these guys who believe these articles there, right, that is flourishing on the internet. I said, but if I'm such a leader, show me just one photo where I'm doing the 1930s salute and so on. Just show me, because you cannot find it because it doesn't exist. And he sent me this photo, and I was like, yeah, what do you want? I mean, what do you want with this? I mean, it doesn't prove anything. It was just like a good time in an apartment with guys I saw for the first time, and hey, come and take a photo, this and this and that. Further on, we went back home. This is not really important what happened there. We were just visiting some people and this and that, and I actually met my now wife there. She had nothing to do with these people, but she's very good at speaking English, so she was there as a translator. So so what happened was I was communicating with her on the internet and on the Skype and so on for, I don't know, 5-6 months or something. And I went back to Moscow, and we already decided that we would get married and this and this and that. And I went back to Denmark. The third visit here in Russia had nothing to do with anything of guys and so on. I went back to Denmark. When I entered my house, because I lived in a house back then, I could see there was a scratch on the brass tumbler, on the brass cylinder there, on the lock, on the door lock. And I could immediately spotted it right away. What is that? So I was thinking, okay, is it the Antifa, or is it the secret police, or is it the secret service? It was the secret service. And they most likely been there earlier as well on one of my second visits. Because they, of course, found it very interesting that we were visiting Russia all of a sudden, and that I was visiting Russia. So what happened was, the day after, or the day after again, they knocked on the door, and I could hear there was the police, because that's what they said. And they said, Lars, we have a warrant for your arrest, and we have a warrant for house search, and so on, so on. So, because we have got anonymous tip that you are hiding illegal firearms. And I was thinking, oh yeah, okay, I don't have any illegal firearms, so yeah, go ahead, enjoy yourselves. So I got arrested, but no. Yeah, I got arrested, of course. I had to get my clothes on. I sat in my office chair in front of my computer, and when I sat there, immediately a police officer kicked me away. I said, get away from that computer. And then the dime dropped. I knew what was going on. They wanted access to my computer, because I had a good friend who was a computer specialist, security specialist, and he had installed a program on my computer which was used back then by the United States Navy. You could not get onto that computer unless you knew a password this long. When you turned the computer on, the screen was just black with a little white cursor in the top left corner. You punch in your password, nothing is visible on the screen at all. And if you punch in the right password, the computer works as normal. If you forget the password, you'll never get access to the computer again. That's how it was. Why did I have that? What was so important on that machine? Nothing really, other than some personal information on some of the members of the DNF back then. And I was, of course, nervous that the Antifa would come and steal the computer and this and that. So if they did that, they would never get anything out of it. That's basically why I had this program on it. But the police didn't know that. They thought there was all sorts of juicy information on it. So basically I got arrested for that. I was sitting in the police station there, and they came and asked me questions about this and that. And I was just, I never been in custody or anything like that before. So I was just waiting for the 24 hours to pass and I would be released and so on. But that didn't happen. What happened was that I got put to custody. I was really shocked because I knew by myself I had not done anything. And of course, when you are in the initial stages of such a process, they are being arrested and so on, they're not telling you exactly what's going on. So I was just like, I've not done anything. I have no firearms, I had nothing. So what is it they want? I could not see any other option than I would be released. But I didn't. I was not released. I was taken to court the following morning, and I was to remain in custody for 2 weeks, 14 days. And one of the claims was that I wanted to produce explosives. So I was in for what could earn me like 6 years of prison. And I was like, but explosives? Where? Why? Well, where does the idea come from? And I was just in shock. The funny thing was that in the first court hearing, the police specialists, they had a statement saying that there is nothing found in Lars's house which can produce explosives alone, meaning that you had need to get some more ingredients to do that. I mean, in any house you can go in and find something which is a component of some kind of explosive, most likely, right? So I was a little bit, but of course the police wanted access to my computer. I gave them the passwords, the first or second day. There was nothing to be, there was nothing secret on the computer, basically. Even some they write that there was bomb manuals and this and that, which is absolutely not true. There were no bomb manuals on my computer. But their case against me was so thin that they were standing in court, the prosecutor was standing with a big note block and saying, Lars, what is this? So what is all these formulas within this note block here? What is it? And I was saying, listen, they found it in my basement. I said, this is notes from when I was attending technical university studying as electrician, automatician. And he was like, put it down. Then he took like a small flash card, like a flash memory card. And there's like 400 names on this flash card, and he pretended that like it was my hit list, wherever he had the idea that I even would have a hit list, and I don't get it. But of course, it was hidden in my house, this little flash card or flash drive. But what it was list of members of DNF, of our organization, and people related to it, and I of course hid it so the Antifa would not find it and look into all these names. So it was a very thin case they were running. But basically, a little funny side note here is that while I was speaking to this the lead investigator there, at some point he said to me, Lars, because I was like, what is going on? What is it? What are you insane? And he said, well, I've done anything. I've not done anything. I have no intentions or anything of what you guys are accusing me for. I got a little bit nervous, of course. But he said, Lars, listen, what's going to happen is that at some point all these political and serious charges, they will be dropped. Whatever we have found in your house of illegal items such as pepper sprays, and there's a pistol which could shoot gas particles, no bullets or anything like that, but this is illegal in Denmark. The pepper sprays are illegal in Denmark. Folding knives are illegal in Denmark if they are 7 centimeters and if they have a locking blade and so on. You go to prison straight away for a week if you have such a knife. These things, we will give you so you will receive some kind of sentence for these illegal possessions. They will be equalized to what you have been sitting in custody, so we don't have to pay you any compensation. And you know what, guys? That is exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened. I went to court. I got prolongation of another, after 2 weeks, I got a prolongation of another 2 weeks. But halfway in, I was there 21 days. Halfway in, they came down and said, Lars, you can leave. So I didn't even set the second prolongation term, so to speak, right? It took like more than a year. I think it was August 2012 or something like this, or July 2012, where I went to court in Denmark. I was, of course, already living in Russia back then, and I, of course, went back to attend court, and what happened in court was exactly what this lead investigator said. If I've been sentenced for wanting to make explosives and so on, it would have been a completely different matter. So that's what happened. Court case is done. I'm off back to Russia again. What I have realized is, what is much more important is to take care of your own, take care of yourself, make a family, try and then live a simpler, healthier life and so on. Because whatever, I mean, even voting doesn't change anything, right? I mean, what have voting changed in the US or in Europe for that matter? Nothing. If there's not the desired result, then you're just going to have a new vote, a new election, right? So I was thinking to myself, yeah, enough is enough. I lived in Moscow for a long while before, not a long while, but for a few years before we got the opportunity to move out here. And you can say everything I have done in the past and all this stuff that had led to me to come out here and live where I live now and do what I do now. And I'm raising my family together with my wife and our kids together with my wife and so on, so on, so on, so. And yeah, that's basically it. That's basically it. If more people did like that and minded their own business instead of trying to impose their will and political views on others, then everything would be awesome. And as a disclaimer, I would also like to say that back with DNF and so on, and even before that, I have never ever approved of any, we say, violence or something like this against people with a different color of skin, different race. That is for stupid people, in my opinion. I mean, there's good and bad people everywhere, right? It doesn't have anything to do with what kind of color you have, in my opinion. This I can honestly say. Is that it, really? I think that is it. So guys, please check the links in the description. Please consider supporting the channel and all that good stuff. And until next time, get out and train, get done, do something awesome, and see you next video, guys. Thank you very much for your time.